Hello agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Target Loot Today, your daily farming guide for of course Wednesday, February 17th. In this series, I cover a large scope of useful info like the Target Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights from the weekly vendor resets including Cassie, and build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoy this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if you didn't, then give it a thumbs down. And always remember to hit the bell notification to all so you never miss a daily morning video, and comment below if you have any questions, concern, feedback, anything at all, and I'll respond as soon as possible. Otherwise, let's get this video started, agents. Alright agents, starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are in the big bottom left overlay, including Cassie now, which just started today, and she is right over here. So I'm going to show you right now, right over here in this East Mall area. Now, I probably would recommend maybe getting the everyday carrier Ekim's long stick, but I don't have the hunter killer yet, so it doesn't show on this, video. Otherwise, that's what she has for today. Now over here in DZ West, we got knee pads as target to loot. A great Dark Zone exclusive here is the Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen. And of course those goes great on like, any armor regen build, especially like Foundry Bulwark 4-piece, with some Bellstone Armory if you don't have the chest and backpack since they're Iron Horse raid exclusive. And then of course you can still farm for the two exotics, the Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads and Sawyer's knee pads. Both of those will drop in the DZ. The Ninja Bike, you get 25% bonus armor and instantly reload your weapon when you vault or do a cover to cover move. And with the Sawyer's knee pads, it's the opposite. You sit still, and every second you sit still, you get 1% weapon damage up to 30% weapon damage, and then as soon as you flinch, it starts going down by 1%. Now over here in DZ South, we got Hunter's Fury today, so I'm going to put my favorite Hunter's Fury build in the top title card right now. That is 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Memento Backpack, and Death Grip Gloves with 10% armor on kill. And then of course I always run that with the Dark Winter and the Scorpio exotic shotgun and the Orbit pistol with perfect finisher as my sidearm. And then of course as an alternative you could run this build, which is of course 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, a Sokolov chest with Obliterate, which is my favorite, or you can run Intimidate, and the Memento. And I always run these with the Dark Winter, the Scorpio, and the Orbit pistol. That perfect finisher is amazing. And last but not least, in DZ East, we got Providence Defense today, so you can farm the Gift Backpack with Perfect Vigilance. That is going to give you 25% extra damage, just straight up, just like regular Vigilance. But, like Vigilance, when you get hit, you lose the buff for 4 seconds. With Perfect Vigilance, you only lose the buff for 3 seconds. So overall, the sustained DPS is better. So if you want to farm for it today, I heavily recommend doing so. I have a couple of pair myself, and it's definitely worth it for sure on a sharpshooter build or all red DPS build. Alright, let's go check out the north side and invaded missions now, agents. Alright agents, Northside Target Loot highlights. Starting off with the invaded missions this week, we got Air and Space Museum, and then Space Admin, and then of course Jefferson Plaza, and the 2 strongholds is Capitol Building Stronghold and Tidal Basin Stronghold. Starting off at Camp White Oak in the north side, we got Hardwired. Now I'll recommend, this build running Butcher did, which is 4-piece Hardwired, a China Light chest with Glass Cannon or Unbreakable. And then of course the Vile Mask, and you want to run, I believe it's the Jammer Pulse and the Firefly or Bulwark Shield for faster cooldowns, equipping and unequipping it of course. Otherwise, moving on to Empress at Coney Island Ballpark, this is the new best way to do the turret and drone build, which I'll put my best turret and drone build in the top right card now. And that of course is 3-piece Empress, 2-piece Hana U, and then of course the Waveform holster. I run Kinetic Momentum on the chest piece and the Force Multiplier backpack. And then I run the Capacitor as my primary weapon, the Harmony as my secondary, and then the Card Custom Pistol as my sidearm. Also, there are 2 named items Empress comes with. That would be the Battery Pack with Perfectly Calculated, and then the Caesar's Guard chest piece with Perfectly Skilled. And next up we got Hana-U at Coney Island Amusement Park. I guess the north side is where you get all your skill build stuff today. So Hana-U, that would be the Force Multiplier backpack with Perfect Combined Arms. which of course gives you 30% skill damage every 3 seconds that you land a shot on an NPC or player. And the alternative of course is to farm Alps Summit, which you can get the percussive maintenance, and that of course gives you perfect tech support, which is 30% skill damage for 30 seconds. Some people like it better, but you don't get that 10% skill haste from the Hana U brand set. Next up and finally, we got assault rifles at Manny National Zoo. So of course you got 3 exotic ARs in this game. One's the Eagle Bearer and it's locked behind the Dark Hours raid still. So if you need help with that, I highly recommend checking out my Discord or my shadowgaming.network website. Join the clan, join the Discord, look for a group to help you, do the raid. Otherwise, the other 2 AR exotics you can farm for is the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts, and then of course you could farm for the Capacitor with Capacitance if you've completed the project, the 5 Summit challenges first. And then of course there's also a bunch of recommended named ARs in the bottom left overlay. I'd say the Mechanical Animal with Future Perfection, the Test Subject with Perfectly in Sync, and then the Burnout named FAMAS are my favorites. The Rail Splitter with Perfectly Accurate is a DZ exclusive though. And then of course Kinley College is closed, and the Summit you pick your own target to loot. So let's go check out what we got on the west and east sides of DC now, agents. Alright agents, west side target loot highlights, starting off with the gear sets. So I'm going to go with True Patriot at Potomac Event Center. Now that is my second favorite gear set in this game, and I will put my build for a True Patriot SMG build in the top right card and bottom left overlay now. And that of course is going to be 4 pieces of True Patriot, a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, and the Memento backpack, running the Lady Death, and the mop with 10% armor on kill. That build is perfect for solo all the way up to 4-man groups, heroic and legendary content, and that includes strongholds as well as summit floors. Next up we got Rigger in Downtown West. This is really the successor to Hardwired, I believe. It gives you instant cooldowns, which Hardwired used to give you until they nerfed it to 30 seconds. And it gives you skill damage when you cancel or get that instant cooldown as well, or change targets like on a turret and drone. And then we got Negotiator's Dilemma over here at DCD HQ today. I'll put my double LMG build in the top title card right now. That is 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma, the Coyote's Mask. And then I always run it with the Grupo Sombro gloves for the Pestilence and Bullet King, or you could use an AR or SMG, and then you could use the Contractor's gloves as well instead of the Grupo Sombro gloves and still run the Pestilence or the Bullet King. It's really up to you if you want that 15% extra crit damage, or if you want the extra, LMG damage from the Contractor's gloves and the 8% damage to armor. And speaking of Contractor's gloves, it looks like you could farm that today at the Lincoln Memorial site, as well as the BTSU Data gloves. So those are the 2 that I'd recommend farming today over here at Lincoln Memorial. And then of course the last gear set we got is Aces and 8s at DARPA Research Labs. So I always recommend the 3-piece Aces and 8s build with 2 pieces of Raldo Holding, one being a backpack with Vigilance or Composure, and the Chain Killer chest piece. And I always run that with the Mantis as my primary, and secondary is Ekim's Long Stick with Perfect Ranger or the White Death, and you can get the Ekim's Long Stick from Cassie. And if you somehow miss her, the Ekim's Long Stick is also at the DZ East vendor this week, but I'd recommend the Ekim's Long Stick from Cassie, it's way better rolled. Next up we got Bellstone at the Pentagon. This is where you could farm for the everyday carrier perfectly efficient, although I think the one that Cassie has is pretty good, but please comment below if you ever use this chest piece. I never do. I usually only mention this because the Liquid Engineer backpack with Perfect Bloodsucker is a Dark Zone exclusive, so anyone farming for it, don't waste your time farming the Light Zone for it. Next up we got holsters at West Atomic Park. So you got 3 exotic holsters, the Waveform, which is at unlocked at season 4 level 90, and then of course you got the Dodge City and the Imperial Dynasty holsters as well. The Dodge City is perfect for pistol builds and headshot damage builds, the Imperial Dynasty is for status effects and skill damage like my Close Protocol build, and the Waveform is perfect for the turret and drone build. And then next up we got shotguns at Foggy Bottom. So of course you could farm the 2 exotics, the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman talent and the Scorpio with Septic Shock. Now the Sweet Dreams you can one-hit kill with a melee attack any purple or red barred enemy, and that's a cooldown of 15 seconds. Which is really good for skill builds I guess, but I still prefer the Scorpio with Septic Shock for DPS, skill, or anything, any type of build. Because 1 shot it already gives them a poison status effect, 3 shots confuse, 5 shock, 7 you give them a 20% damage debuff against the enemy. It's really good. And then of course the other 4 best shotguns would be the Rock and Roll with Perfectly Extra, although it's a DZ exclusive, the Mob with 10% armor on kill, the Custom Inmate 70, and the Marine Super 90. I always roll close and personal on all 3 of those. The Rock and Roll of course I keep Perfectly Extra on because you can't change named item talents. And the last couple I'm really going to mention is, of course, Petrov over here at West End. This is where I'd farm for the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor. It's perfect for LMG builds, or if you're stacking damage to armor with Walker Harrison Co., Lady Death, or ARs, and this is where I'd farm BTSU Data Gloves today. And the last couple is Badger Tough at White House. You can get, of course, the 0F's chest piece of Perfect Unbreakable, which is definitely worth it for any DPS hybrid build if you want more survivability to your chest piece. And then last but not least, are all the holdings at Federal Emergency Bunker. If you're building a headshot damage build, what I recommend is getting a backpack with Vigilance or Composure, and then making sure all the rolls have at least weapon damage and headshot damage on them. I prefer weapon handling over crit hit chance or crit hit damage, but that's just my own personal preference, because crit hit chance and crit hit damage don't matter a whole lot on a headshot damage build. You want, above 200% headshot damage on a headshot damage build. And that's going to be my recommendations for the west side. Let's go check out the east side now, agents. Alright agents, east side target loot highlights. Starting off with the gear sets, we got Close Protocol Judiciary Square, and I'll put my favorite fire damage build in the top right and bottom left overlay. That's 4 pieces of a Close Protocol, Imperial Dynasty holster, and 1 piece of Golan gear for that extra 10% status effects. And then of course I run the Chem Launcher, Fire Starter, and then the Stinger Hive, and I run the Pyromaniac with Perfectly Ignited or the Capacitor or both. Next up, we got Foundry Bulwark at District Union Arena. Now remember, the chest and backpack are Iron Horse Raid exclusive. You can only get them on normal difficulty from the Iron Horse Raid, so keep that in mind when farming. But no worries guys, what I would do is just 4-piece Foundry Bulwark, then use the Emperor's Guard D-pads with 1% armor regen, and 1 piece of Bellstone Armory for even more armor regen, and you'll be a very good tank build. And the only other gear set we got today at the east side is Tip of the Spear. I don't really recommend it. If you are going to use it with the Survivalist specialization, and use the crossbow to just strip off armor and like legendary missions. Otherwise, for normal targeted loot, I will start off real quick with Alp Summit Federal Triangle. So this is where you can farm that percussive maintenance backpack with perfect tech support that I was talking about over here on the north side with Hana U as an alternative to the Force Multiplier backpack. Or you could just get a Hana U backpack with just regular tech support. It's up to you, And then we got Overlord at Viewpoint Museum. You can farm the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage to targets out of cover. Highly worth it. That's multiplicative damage, especially paired with 10% on your main weapons. So definitely grab a pair of those for any build that's DPS. And then of course we got some machine guns at Downtown East. So you got 3 exotic SMGs in this game. The Lady Death you could just straight up farm for. The Chatterbox is a quest only at first, so I'll put my Chatterbox guide in the top right or in the pinned comment below. It's a quick 5-minute video. It shows you how to get it really fast. And then of course the Backfire SMG, which you could just straight up farm for as well, but you need about 94% hazard protection overall just to stop the bleed. And always remember that the Dark Winter and the Apartment are Dark Zone exclusive, so you cannot farm for them outside of the Dark Zone unless you get lucky with the named item cache or something like that. But the named ones that I do recommend would be the Grudge with Perfect Vindictive and the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider. Both of those are really good, named SMGs that drop outside of the Dark Zone. And last couple we got is Mars at American History Museum. So you could straight up farm for the Mantis exotic, but the Nemesis exotic you do need to complete the quest first and get of course the blueprint, Puck's blueprint from Grand Washington Hotel when it's invaded. And I'll always let you guys know when it's invaded that week. Otherwise, in the meantime, stock up on the, the other pieces, the tally, the scales, the bridle, all that good stuff. And if you want to know how to, do the Nemesis, like quest, I'm working on my website. Check it in the pinned comment below, shadowgaming.network. It'll have exotic guides on how to get the quest ones. And then next up we got Mass at East Mall. You got those 4 control points back to back to farm for the 2 exotics, the Coyotes mask and of course the Vile mask. Now of course with the Coyotes mask, that's going to be for DPS builds and only 1 agent needs to be wearing it to get the full benefits like the Pact Instincts talent where you get the crit hit chance and crit hit damage, buffs. You only need 1 agent to be wearing that out of the whole group to get the effect. And then for the Vile mask, just to make it stronger, you can run the Demolitionist specialization that will increase the damage of the debuff. Otherwise, you can farm for the Punch Drunk Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it, although I'd recommend farming Douglas and Harding over a Mass. If Douglas and Harding is not available over in the New York City area, I'd recommend farming Mass at East Mall for that. And that's all I recommend for the DC area. Everything else, you guys, if you need it, farm for it like Sokolov Concern for your SMG builds or whatever. But let's move on now to New York City. Alright agents, New York City, targeted loot highlights. Starting off first with the gear sets, we got Future Initiative at Civic Center, just like Foundry Bulwark. The chest and backpack are Iron Horse Raid exclusive. You cannot get them outside of normal difficulty of the Iron Horse Raid. But I got you guys covered. Just get an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve and a Murakami backpack with Safeguard on it. That's a great non-raid exclusive healer build that I highly recommend farming for. And then we got Strikers at the Tombs. I only ever recommend running 3 pieces and never any more, or the chest and backpack, and that's just to calm down the Merciless or an LMG with like Perfect Frenzy on it. And last but not least, we got a really good gear set here. Ongoing Directive is Stranded Tanker. I always give you guys the 2 bleed damage builds that are going to be included probably in my Best of DPS build series coming soon. Now the first one is my favorite. It's the Ridgeway's Pride 4-piece Ongoing Directive, and then the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked, which you can farm here at Wall Street today. Go long gear targeted loot. And I always run both of these with the Carnage with Perfect Sadist, and of course the Scorpio with Septic Shock. The second one, you're going to run the Vile Mask 4-piece Ongoing Directive and a Badger Tough backpack with of course Creeping Death Talon, and you want to definitely run that Scorpio for that one, and of course the other one, the Carnage with Perfect Sadist. Now for normal targeted loot, we got chest pieces at 2 bridges. You got the Tardigrade and the Ridgeway's Pride. Those are the 2 exotic chest pieces in this game. Ridgeway's Pride, you're just going to have to complete the project or let your teammates know what you're farming for and vice versa so they can drop it for you if possible. And then of course with the Tardigrade, it's really great for support for your team for all that extra bonus armor. Whenever it's lost, it's like way better than Perfect Unbreakable, and you could just straight up farm for that one. And then we covered Golan gear. You can get the Anarchist Cookbook here with Perfect Wicked. That's going to give you, I believe, 18% weapon damage for 27 seconds upon applying a status effect, which you're always doing with Ongoing Directive. And then of course we got Walker Harrison Coil Liberty Island. You can farm the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter. That's going to deal 150% of your last killing blow straight to the head, which is going to be like 20 million a headshot. And then we got backpacks at Battery Park. You could farm the Memento backpack with Kill Confirmed and Acosta's with 1 in the hand, but the Memento is probably the real prize here that a lot of people are still looking for that missed the Season 3 rewards. But remember, the Memento has no faction, so you just have to farm backpack targeted loot and eventually it will drop. On Heroic you have a 7% chance, on Challenging you have a 5% drop rate chance. That's how exotics work. And then lastly we got rifles at Pathway Park. So the 2 exotics is the Merciless and the Diamondback. The Merciless kicks like a horse, so you need 3-piece strikers, brace on your chest piece, or weapon handling on your gear. And then for the Diamondback, it hits really hard. It's good in PvE and PvP, but the drawback is it only has 5 shots in the magazine or clip. I do definitely recommend the named rifles that drop in the light zone, like the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot and the Surge with Perfect Spike. That one's actually really good for skill damage builds, and the Baker's Dozen is great for console players on sharpshooter builds. And that's pretty much all I see in New York City. Alright agents, well that was your daily farming guide for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider pressing those subscribe and like buttons below. It really helps me out, and if not, just go ahead and give it a thumbs down if you really didn't enjoy it. And always remember to check the video description and pinned comment below. I have my brand new website, shadowgaming.network, which will be a link down below, as well as my merchandise, Discord, Shadow Crew Clan on all platforms, all sorts of useful info for you guys, which of course is now going to be on my shadowgaming.network website, so it's probably best just to go to that website. And it has no ads on it for right now, so it's no ad blocker needed. And then of course, if you want to join my channel, you can click the join button below for exclusive perks and extra support. It really helps me out, like maintaining my website and all this new audio equipment and all the extra cool stuff that I've been able to do with the channel. Take care agents, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off, and I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day agents.